Darren Allison, Interim Chief. I want to begin by saying that the dangers and demands of this profession are real and come with significant sacrifice. Sadly, today, one of our officers paid the ultimate sacrifice. On December 29, 2023, a team of officers were dedicated to an overnight burglary operation. At about 1 o'clock in the morning, officers responded to a business in the 400 block of Embarcadero after receiving a report of possibly burglary in progress. After conducting a preliminary investigation, officers cleared the scene. A few hours later, at about 4:33 in the morning, officers received another report of a burglary in progress at the same business in the 400 block of Embarcadero. Uniformed and plainclothes officers from the burglary operation responded to that scene. On arrival, officers observed multiple individuals leaving the scene of the burglary. During the response, at least one individual discharged their firearm multiple times, striking a plainclothes officer who was driving an unmarked vehicle. Additional responding officers quickly transported the critically injured officer to an area hospital. Tragically, at 8:44 in the morning, our officer succumbed to his injury. We have officers, including Oakland Police and Alameda County Sheriff Tactical Team, at the scene. We also called in additional officers to follow up on leads to apprehend those individuals involved. Additionally, OPD's homicide team has responded to conduct the investigation. We are asking anyone with video or information on this incident to please contact the OPD homicide section at 510-238-3821. At this time, we are not identifying the officer until all family members have been notified out of respect for the family. The officer has been an Oakland police officer for 4 years. I do want to express my gratitude for the women and men of the Oakland Police Department who responded to the scene and continue to work towards locating and apprehending those involved. I'm also grateful to the members of this department who work hard every day to bring safety to our community. We understand this is a difficult time for everyone, and we extend our heartfelt condolences to the officers' friends, family, and loved ones. Our prayers and support are with them as they navigate through this challenging period. I also want to thank our partnering agencies who have responded and continue to help with this incident. Some of those include Sheriff Sanchez and the Alameda County deputies who responded to the scene and supported us at the hospital, California Highway Patrol, our FBI representatives, our ATF representatives, Oakland Fire, and Falk Ambulance. I also want to recognize Mayor Tao and City Administrator Johnson for their continued support. There's also been an outpouring of support and outreach from our law enforcement partners and community leaders who I'm very appreciative. Their support will be important as we recover from this tragedy. And I ask everyone to be respectful to the family and to the members of this department as we grieve the loss of our officer. Any additional details we have to this case will be pushed out through our social media platforms. At this point, I'll turn it over to Mayor Tao.
This morning, one of our brave and dedicated Oakland police officers has died in the line of duty. I am truly devastated by this news, and I know that all of Oakland feels the impact of this loss. I'm asking Oaklanders to stand with the OPD family and the family of our fallen officer, especially during this extremely difficult time. Oakland, this loss cuts deep. Many of our officers are hurting right now, and they're going to need our support. Our community is in shock. This senseless murder of a police officer, one of the guardians of our beautiful city, It will not stand. Oakland will work tirelessly with all of our law enforcement partners to find those responsible for this assault on our city and the killing of our officer. We will work together to bring these perpetrators to justice. Oakland has received pledges of support from local, state, and federal law enforcement, and we thank them for that. And finally, I want to say to all of our officers and emergency workers, we appreciate you. We honor you, and we thank you for your sacrifices that you make every single day to keep us safe. We are all united with our grief, and we continue to stand together as one Oakland. Thank you. City Administrator.
This tragedy also underscores how connected we all are. As the mayor said, we are truly one Oakland. The entire city of Oakland team is mourning our fallen officer. The entire city organization, all 5,000 of us, stand with his family, his loved ones, and the Oakland Police Department, and our officers and employees who share in their dedication. As Mayor Tao expressed, we are devastated, we are angry, but we are united in mourning. This senseless murder underscores the courage and bravery of our officers, and it demonstrates every day that they arrive at work to serve and protect our community. As stated, this tragedy underscores once again how connected we all are, how the work of every city department and every community neighborhood intersects, and how we all depend on each other. And in that connectedness, I know we stand together. We will serve one another with determination, with love, and with grace. And so all city employees who are hurting today, we see you. We stand with you, and we will dedicate every resource to supporting you. And so I ask everyone hearing this message today to do the absolute same. Please continue to stand with us. We need each other, and we will get through this together as one Oakland. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open up for questions. Again, the questions are for the chief and the chief only. I ask you to raise your hand and we will take yours. And then again, this is limited information we can because this is an ongoing investigation. Starting with Henry.
Chief, can you confirm that this is a cannabis dispensary in progress burglary, and was that lease on along with the officer?
So I can confirm that the business that we were looking at, it was involved in the cannabis dispensary business. As far as the details of vehicles that were involved and the forensics, I'm not going to go into those details at this time.
Answer.
So the area perimeter is still closed off. Is it, obviously you're conducting your investigation, is it into what happened or search for suspects? Do you believe that there's some suspects still in that vicinity?
So when we close off an area, it is for both looking at, for those that are involved, that might still be on scene, as well as processing the evidence.
Melina?
Can you talk anything about how many other officers were there at the operation during the time, and if there was return fire?
So there were multiple officers attached to the operation, plainclothes and uniforms. So there were several officers involved in the operation. And no, we did not have any officer return fire.
Sarah?
You mentioned that when they responded at about 1 a.m. that they cleared the scene. What did you mean by that? And was the officer who was killed driving when he was shot?
So to the answer to the first question, we responded. We were able to determine that there was, in fact, a burglary. We took a police report, conducted a preliminary investigation, secured the business, and left. And then it was re-burglarized again later on in the evening, or later on in the morning. And then the second question.
The second question is, was the officer shot while they were driving?
Yes, they were driving in a vehicle when they were struck.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the officer, just who he was as a person or his contributions to the department?
So as I mentioned, I will not go into the details about the officer, but I will say the officer has been on with us for 4 years and is one of our field team officers who works very closely in the field with some of our other specialized teams.
How many suspects in the burglary, and how many are you looking for?
So there were several individuals reported as far as being involved in the burglary. Obviously, they are all individuals of interest. I don't have a number to give everybody at this time, but it was multiple, and we are looking for everybody that had any hand and involvement in this incident.
Was there surveillance video?
Doc?
Yeah, I was just trying to find out in terms of surveillance footage, any suspect description or vehicle description you can provide. So you're asking for the public to help and call. Any information you can release to the public so they can actually help and call in.
Absolutely, and certainly if we have witnesses to the incident, we definitely want individuals to reach out to our homicide. I will say there is a lot of actionable evidence that we're following up on. I don't want to go into the details as of yet. Obviously, as we get more information due to the very preliminary nature and newness of this investigation, once we need more information from those specific pieces of evidence, we'll then push it out to our community for response. But at this time, anybody that has a witness to it, we're asking to come forward.
Sean, did I answer your question?
Yes. Was there surveillance at the site?
I'll just leave it at there was a lot of actionable evidence.
Harry?
Was the officer alone in the vehicle when he was shot, and how did he get to the hospital?
The officer was with another plainclothes officer, and they were transported to the hospital by other responding police personnel.
Have time for 2 more questions.
Yeah. Hi. How did the officers first learn of the original burglary and then the subsequent re-burglary?
So the first burglary, we received a call from reporting individuals, good Samaritans in the area that were reporting the burglary, and that's what prompted our response. And I believe, but I can't confirm, that that was the same for the second burglary, but the operation was geared towards responding to the burglaries in the area.
Elena, last question.
Was the officer? You said the officer was driving when they were shot. Were they in pursuit of the suspect? Why were they driving? Were they clearing the scene again? Can you talk about that at all?
At this time, I'm not going to go into the details of the investigation and the response. That will get a little too much closer to the details, but just know that he was driving a vehicle at the time he was struck.
That's going to conclude our news conference. You have any additional questions, please send them to OPD Media. Please allow the chief and our guest, the mayor, and the city administrator to leave.